It had been an incredible dream. So real, so vivid and erotic, so incredibly satisfying. She stopped at a red light and glanced down at the card on her passenger seat. Before she could talk herself out of it, she grabbed her cell phone and called Dr. Sword. His receptionist immediately put her through to him as she headed her car toward the expressway. "Miss McDaniels," he said eagerly. "Chrissy has told me so much about you. I would really like to speak to you if you have time." Something compelled her to accept. "Okay, sure. When?" "What are you doing for lunch?" Erin gave a nervous laugh. "I guess meeting you would be the correct answer." His own laughter answered her. "Tell you what, why don't we meet out in public for the first time? I find it puts people more at ease. Do you like Thompson's restaurant at 5 Points? "Okay. What time?" "How about right now? It should be just opening up for the day." "Sounds like a plan. I'll be there in about half an hour." "Good. I'll be waiting." Erin pulled onto the expressway and headed toward their rendezvous. Once she reached the mall, she parked her car outside the quaint restaurant that specialized in jazz music and bohemian food, then headed inside. There were only a handful of people in the dark interior, all of whom were seated at tables. It was only then she realized she'd forgotten to ask the doctor what he looked like. "Erin?" She turned to see a tall, distinguished-looking man in his early 40s entering through the door behind her. "Yes?" "Rick Sword," he said, extending his hand out to her. She shook it. "Nice to meet you." "Yes," he said with a cool smile. "Yes, it is." He got them a table in the back of the restaurant, and once they were seated and had placed their orders, he listened as she explained her nightmares to him. Erin felt a little nervous at first, but as she explained it to him and he didn't appear to judge her, she went into more details. "And then this guy, Vaden, was there, and he called the snake monster, Skotos." She paused as she trailed her straw around her Coke. "You probably think I'm nuts by now." "Hardly," he said, his blue eye sincere. "In truth, I find you fascinating. Tell me, have you ever heard of the Skotai before?" "No, never." Interesting." She frowned as he made a few notes on the pad he'd carried inside with him. "Why?" "Well, they're part of history. Tell me, did you ever take an ancient Greek civilization or mythology course in college?" "No, not really. I mean, we covered the basic Greek pantheon in high school, and I had to read the Odyssey and Oedipus Rex in college, but that was it." He said, as if he found that interesting too. "Why do you ask?" "I was just wondering how the idea of the Skotai got implanted into your subconscious." There was a peculiar note in his voice that made her extremely apprehensive. "What are you saying? They're real?" He laughed. "Well, that depends on whether or not you believe in the ancient Greek gods, but they were a part of that culture. They were, for lack of a better term, nightmare demons. They were said to infiltrate the dreams of humans so they could suck emotions and creativity. It made them high, if you will. Like energy vampires? Something like that. Anyway, the legend goes that they would visit a soul a few times during its lifetime and move on. It's how the ancients explained away their nightmares. Supposedly, every so often, a Skotos would latch onto a particular victim and go back over and over until the person became insane from the visits." "Insane how?" He took a sip of his drink. "The scientific theory behind the legend would be that the visitations, whatever they really were, disrupted normal sleep patterns, causing the victim to never really rest or rejuvenate during the night, thereby causing mental duress. If it continued long enough, it would lead to mental instability." A shiver went down her spine. This sounded just a little too much like what had been happening to her. "So, how does someone get rid of a Skotos?" "According to legend, you can't." "Can I fight them?" He shook his head. "No, but the ancient Greeks believed in perfect balance. As you have the evil Skotos, likewise you have the benevolent